Malaysia's biggest opposition coalition is open to more allies as it gears up for the 15th general election.
Pakatan Harapan Chairman Anwar Ibrahim says the coalition is willing to work with any party as long as it shares the same values and principles. He says PH will only align itself with those who are against corruption and abuse of power, and cooperation must be based on more than just opposing Barisan Nasional. CNA's Aira Azhari tells us more.
The Pakatan Harapan coalition is still open to working with other opposition parties. This, according to the coalition's chairman Anwar Ibrahim, who made these comments when asked if he will consider working with former allies Mahathir Mohamad and his Pejuang party, as well as Muhyiddin Yassin's Pakatan Nasional coalition.
We are now committed to a reform agenda, the PH agenda, against corruption, against abuse of power, against all excesses. And whoever wants to, who agrees, they can come and talk to us.
Speaking at his party PKR's headquarters this afternoon, Mr. Anwar said Pakatan Harapan's component parties are still assessing the pros and cons of dissolving the Penang State Assembly. However, he maintains that the chief ministers of the PKR-controlled states of Selangor and Negeri Sembilan will not be dissolving their state assemblies this year. Several quarters within the coalition feel that the DAP-controlled Penang Assembly should not dissolve. Instead, it should toe the line and present a united Pakatan Harapan front in the upcoming general election. Meanwhile, Pakatan Harapan is also set to launch its manifesto next Thursday at the coalition's convention in Ipoh, Perak. Afifa Arifin, CNA in Selangor.
Aira Azhari is with us now. She's a senior manager at the Institute for Democracy and Economic Affairs, joining us live from New York. Ms. Aira, we just heard that opposition coalition Pakatan Harapan, they're saying that they need to stand united. Meanwhile, we're hearing Penang, the national chairperson Lim Guan Eng saying she says the people want to dissolve the assembly and go for state elections now, along with parliamentary elections. Meanwhile, we've got the coalition saying we've got to act as a united front. How do you read this?
So I think the Lim Guan Eng is probably being quite practical there. It is a task in itself to try to get Malaysians out to vote just for this general election, with possible floods coming up and with increasing political apathy across the divide. So he might have a point there. If you just do one election and vote for both state assembly and parliament at the same time, that might be safer. And if you call for a state election next year, that might just confuse people, and turnout might be even lower, as we saw during the recent Johor and Malacca state elections. Turnout was very low, and for opposition parties, they generally do not favor that, as a low turnout usually benefits the incumbent, or rather benefits BN UMNO. So he has a point there. Although I think it's difficult, because I think now there is a norm, it is going to become a norm where states call for elections at a different time than parliamentary elections. So this is becoming something that Malaysians probably will need to get used to in the future. And of course, at this time of year, the floods are always a big concern. So these are several things I think that PH needs to think very carefully about. And I think the voter turnout would, be their first and foremost concern. Yeah.
All right, I'll return to those, the costs and benefits of dissolving or not dissolving right now. Let's get to PAS, because that's headline news today. PAS has decided not to dissolve. It's Kedah, Kelantan and Terengganu. They are going to not dissolve these states. They will keep them, they will have these elections at a separate date. What are PAS's calculations when it says, when it makes that kind of decision?
PAS, I think, is, especially in the states of Kelantan and Terengganu, I think, are quite confident of their chances of being re-elected as the state government. In Kelantan, certainly, they have ruled for several decades, interrupted. So, and I think, firstly, I don't think they have that concern of lower voter turnout or decreasing support. And also, of course, the biggest concern, especially for the East Coast states, is the flooding. And, I hope a big part of the reason why they have made this decision is because they do want to focus on search on rescue efforts for the upcoming flood season. But I think first and foremost, PAS probably is not worried about voter turnout or decreasing support, just because there have not been a strong alternative to PAS in those states in the first place for several decades. Their support has been quite solid, and it doesn't suggest that they might be defeated anytime soon, actually, especially not in Kelantan. So I think those considerations have made them decide to not dissolve their state assemblies, which I would think are quite valid reasons. And especially for the rakyat in those states, flooding is, of course, a huge concern. And
to cut in here,
the state
very
government's
quickly,
efforts will need to go into that.
Yes, we keep hearing this. We want to put them off so that we can concentrate on preparing for monsoon season. You can argue for or against. For example, Lim Guan Eng was saying, well, if we combine state and parliamentary elections right now, we can deal a double penalty to UMNO. You could argue that, or you can say we lose twice or we win twice. And he also said, as an election strategy after GE, assuming whoever wins, PAS might then decide to dump PN and go for UMNO instead. And then you're looking at a different kind of alliance, which will be harder for the opposition to manage or challenge. So plus and minus, how does it really matter whether or not they have state elections now?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, the political climate in general, especially with a party like PAS, has been very, very unpredictable. And, many academics and electoral experts out there have said, that maybe our democracy is moving towards this model of political parties, actually changing and forming alliances, both before and after elections. And, in PAS statement, they said that they are going into a pact with Pakatan Nasional this time. But yeah, as you said, if they do state elections later, who knows what kind of pact they will then get into, or if there is any pact at all. So yeah, I think these changing alliances are happening across the board, and will, I think, be what the future of our democracy will look like. It is especially obvious with PAS right now, but we don't know what's going to happen in the future.
We don't
it
know.
might not necessarily be a bad thing.
And we shall see what happens then. That's Ms. Aira Azhari, Senior Manager of the Democracy and Governance Unit in the Institute for Democracy and Economic Affairs. Thank you.